Welcome to summer and this June edition of Local Image, coming to you from Maplewood and the site where the 100th anniversary of the Ramsey County Fair will unfold in July. We'll hear more about the history of the fair and what's planned for this year's milestone event a little later. But first, we'll travel about a half a mile from here to the Plaza Theater, one of few discount movie theaters left in the Twin Cities, and the owner of this one is seeking your help in keeping the doors open.
This is actually the last truly discount theater in the state of Minnesota. In the 80s, I remember seeing movies for $4 a ticket, and I remember people saying, man, this is so expensive, $4 a ticket. But discount theaters have always been in that dollar ticket range. So what other industry has had a price policy that has gone up maybe 75 cents over 30 years? Well, it's discount theaters, and there are so few of us left. I got into the business because I love movies, and my family was a working class family, and they grew up going to, taking us to second run theaters when my sister and I were children. So it's nice to be able to offer that savings. My favorite comment was off the Plaza Facebook page, and somebody had posted, what theater can you go to in the Twin Cities and take a family of 4 and get change back from a $5 bill? Which is very true. It's on Dollar Tuesdays.
We always look into what's the best deal for a family, because we're a family of 5. So this is the most affordable thing for us. And it's fun, and the kids love it.
The Plaza is facing 2 major obstacles. The first is that after sort of a long period of limbo, the film is about to go away forever. And by that, what I mean is we are entering an age, a very exciting age of digital cinema, where traditional film projectors will be replaced by digital projectors. I think it's going to be a great thing for the Plaza, because even though a lot of people really have a love of film, especially those like me who grew up in the business, and I've actually handled film, and I'm sort of one of the last generations to come along and actually have emulsion smears on my fingers. The thing of it is that film deteriorates over time. So the longer you play a film, the more scuffed up it gets, the bigger the scratches get, the more muddy the soundtrack gets. In the digital environment, the person who sees the movie at the first show on Friday will have exactly the same experience as the person who sees the last show on the Thursday night that you lose it. And obviously there's some environmental costs to be considered, because we're not going to be dumping hundreds of reels of film into the landfills every year. Everybody's going to win with digital. The only problem is the price tag. It's going to cost. It typically costs anywhere from $75,000 to $85,000 per screen for a theater to convert. The bigger issue to all of this is our lease. Our landlord, which is Woodland Hills Church, located directly next door, still has not given me a firm answer on whether or not we will be allowed to renew our current lease. And if I cannot renew my lease, will effectively end this theater's operation before the end of the year. The power to save this theater is in the hands of the people right now. If you have a free night and you're looking for something fun to do, give us a shot. Come see a movie. Come see a movie twice. We'd love to have you. And the most important thing is to contact Woodland Hills Church and let them know how much the Plaza means to them. And don't be rude, don't be mean, they're not bad people. I just think that sometimes when you run an organization, sometimes things get missed, and they don't have the history with the Plaza that the neighborhood does. But if they're reminded of that, and if good folks call them up or email them or write them, hopefully they'll understand that this is an entity worth saving, and they'll renew our lease, and we'll be here another 15 years.
Plaza Theater here in Maplewood holds a special place in my heart, as it's the first theater I ever went to as a child. I really hope it remains for others to enjoy for many more years to come. Now, from a local movie theater to a local movie maker, our own Scott Jenson once again took on the 2013 Z-Fest Film Festival, and he shares his experience in this Local Image segment.
What is this thing? It's kind of creepy. It would make the perfect location for a Z-Fest film. Z-Fest is an annual film race. Tons of local filmmakers compete to make the best short film in the coldest months of the year. Why not, right? I grabbed two incredible actors that happen to be my wife and good friend, and I told them the premise. A woman in the afterlife confronts her deepest struggle. She wants to forgive herself and her husband for everything that went wrong, but the wounds are too deep. We ran with it. We nailed some incredible moments. Look. We thought the movie could be good, really good, maybe even compete for first place. Then, bam, I hit my head, literally. I got a concussion playing basketball. A guy's forehead hit my face and his tooth sliced open my lip. Not fun. I considered calling off the project. It was just a short film. I mean, no one would ever watch it anyway. But when people make films, it's complete artistic expression. A filmmaker invests so much into his or her project that once the story is unfolding, it's nearly impossible to let it die. I prayed about it, and I felt I should forge ahead. Then, bam! We got a producer. She assembled some talent to help with the graphics and color and credits, and helped make this project a well-oiled machine. 2 days left. There's no room for error with this type of movie. I make a final adjustment. It improves. But that's it. We deliver the short film on time.
Can you admit that it was your fault too?
Of course I do.
It was really hard. You never said hi to me. You never hugged me. I needed you to hold me. I needed your touch.
I'm sorry.
You looked through me. You know that?
I know. And I'm not trying to say otherwise.
The festival is packed. The short films are great. The top films are listed. Ours was not on the list. After several weeks of intense focus on one thing, constantly making it better and better, I was a little disappointed about not making the best of list. But it's never, ever been about winning or competing. It's not even for the sake of sheer entertainment. It's about telling a great story, and what a great story can do. Stories entertain, but they also reach spaces beyond ourselves. Moments are strung together, layers are unraveled, and every so often, a good story can make the world better. So another short film is in the can. Check it out. And here's to good storytelling.
Now we move from movies to the new guy making the moves inside Vadnais Heights City Hall. We introduce you to new city manager Kevin Watson in this Local Image interview. So we're here inside the city of Vadnais Heights, and I have with me the very new city administrator, Kevin Watson. Hi, Kevin.
Hi,
Thanks
how are
for
you?
having us out today. Very good. How are you doing?
I'm doing well.
How have you been settling in since you started like in March, right?
Early March.
Okay.
Yeah, it's going pretty well. Other than it just continued and kept snowing, things are going pretty well.
Well, tell folks where you originally hail from. Where did you grow up? Because you're not from Minnesota. And what was your job before you came here?
Well, I've kind of moved around quite a bit. My father is actually a city manager as well.
Oh,
so
my goodness.
he was a manager in Texas, and we were moved all around Texas, and then I actually graduated high school in Billings, Montana.
Oh my goodness.
There might be some ties with Minnesotans out that way. And then from there, school in Oklahoma State,
and Kansas for grad school, where I got my master's in public administration. And then I moved out to first job in Reno, Nevada. And then I spent the last 8 years in Oregon. And my last job there, I was city administrator of Junction City, Oregon, which is 15 minutes north of Eugene. So we were a bedroom community / rural community, ag community, just north there in the Willamette Valley.
You did get around quite a bit.
Yeah, I have. So
wow. So what drew you then to this position here in Minnesota? You just wanted to move again, or?
No, it wasn't that. I actually, I met a gal from here, from Shoreview, went to Mounds View High, and her whole family's here, so that was kind of one of the caveats getting into the relationship.
Absolutely.
She's like, at some point I'm going to want to move back to home, Minnesota.
Those Minnesota girls, wow,
yeah,
they will hook
they're
you
loyal.
in. They're loyal.
They're loyal to the snow and the weather.
So how have things been going for you since you started the position here? Has it been overwhelming or smooth sailing?
Yeah, I think a little bit of both. There's certain subjects that are a bit, they're kind of already rolling, and I'm kind of coming in here at the 11th hour trying to play catch up. But overall, pretty smooth sailing, Good group of council members and the mayor. They've been really kind of helping me through the process, and I got a good staff and very impressed with everyone's abilities.
Yeah.
So I think things are going to be pretty good out here.
Yeah, I know there's some great people that work here and also on the council and everything, so you are in good company for sure.
Absolutely.
Just for folks to understand a little bit the difference between an administrator and a city manager, what's the difference between those two positions more or less?
Well, not a whole lot of difference. I think the major thing is a manager probably has more authority as far as spending, hiring and firing of personnel, whereas an administrator, I'll make my recommendation to the council. We'll spend resources here or time here, and then the council will approve that.
Okay.
So, whereas the manager might have a little more
say and involvement in things?
Well, just a little more autonomy.
Okay.
So, whereas administrator, we'll make the recommendation up to the council, and then the council ultimately makes the decision.
Okay. So what are you foreseeing already is going to be your biggest challenge, maybe for the rest of this year?
Well, obviously we've got we're working through the process with the sports center. That's a pretty hot topic. Working with the council, trying to, me personally figure out what their vision and their goals are for the community, and then we're jumping right into the budget process, and that will be a big project for me, just learning kind of the rules and the Minnesota state law, and then also tailoring that and dovetailing that with the city council's vision.
Okay. So. What's been the biggest surprise to you so far since you've been here? Besides a lot of snow, which you probably weren't surprised.
No, not
we were.
Not terribly surprised with the snow. I think I came in kind of expecting that. Just some things that are a little different with, budget law. The pull tab program is something new, and we get funding through gambling. That's a new process to me, so kind of a whirlwind there when I was learning that whole process.
Okay.
But yeah, I don't know that there's
nothing too surprising.
Right now. I think it's kind of it's a little different, but it's kind of the same as what I was dealing with out in Oregon. So.
Okay. And what is it do you think people would be surprised to learn about you?
Oh, very good question. I think I kind of already spilled it there before. My father and my grandfather were both city managers, and so
it's in the blood.
Yeah, I think folks might look at me and think, a pretty young guy being city manager, city administrator. But I'd like to think that I have over 30 years experience as a city manager, or at least I've been in the business for that long.
Yeah.
So it's I think I get the process and the requirements and what it takes for family and folks to be in this position and in the political kind of public light. So
Anything they'd be surprised to know about you? Any unique hobbies or interests?
well, I'm a big hiker camper. I also have gotten into golf. I had a buddy out in Oregon who was a big golfer, and we kind of in the last couple of years really paddled around and played a lot of good golf courses.
Yeah.
Bandon Dunes is out in Oregon on the coast, so
Yep.
took advantage of that.
Plenty
So-
of golf courses in this area as well. So
That's
you'll
what I hear,
have-
as long as the
yeah,
snow goes
as long as
away.
we can get out there and
That's
enjoy
right.
it. Well, we're excited to have you joining us here at the City of Vadnais Heights, and I'm sure we'll hear much more from you, down the road. Maybe even have you guys doing your own show in the future.
Absolutely.
We'll see. But I want to wish you all the best and good luck with all the projects coming forward from the City of Vadnais Heights. I'm sure you'll do a great job. So thanks a lot.
All right.
It was a pleasure to meet you.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Back here in Maplewood, final plans are being put into place for the 2013 Ramsey County Fair, and this year's fair looks to be a doozy. After all, it is the 100th anniversary of the fair, and here to tell us more about the fair is fair manager Joe Fox. Hey Joe, how's it going?
Very good, very good.
Excellent. Joe, to start with, let's tell our viewers what this structure behind us is all about, because we are on the fairgrounds right now.
This is on the fairgrounds. The building behind us here is originally the Ramsey County Poor Farm. And through the 40s and about 1950, this was a producing dairy farm.
Okay.
So the fair came to this site in 1954.
Okay, so it wasn't always here. Where was the first fair actually held then?
The
100
first,
years ago?
40-some years then was in White Bear. White Bear
it
Lake was the original fair in 1913 then until through 1953.
Describe what that first fair would have been like, do you think?
Well, the first fair was a fair with a lot of rural people. A lot of farming was taking place in the northern part of Ramsey County. We had a lot of 4-H club members, and a lot of county fairs. The 4-H program is kind of the strength of the youth programming at the fair. But that was when the farmers would bring in their livestock, their crops, and so on to enter into competition. The first building was built then some years after for some of the livestock. They had a very big livestock show and a big horse show. And one of the things that county fair is different than city festivals, this is a stepping stone for a lot of at the state fair.
Okay.
So 4-Hers compete here at the fair. They go to the state fair. The senior citizen of the year, both man and a woman, they go to the state fair. We have a talent contest here late Sunday afternoon. The winners in those 3 divisions go to the state fair. So it's kind of a stepping stone to competition at the state fair.
Well, let's talk about this year's exciting fair. What are some of the highlights that people can look forward to?
Well, the highlights, we have somewhat limitation on our size, but what we did do is one of the key things, we did a 100th anniversary booklet.
Nice.
That will be available for sale, and we're going to put them in the libraries. We're going to have a booth here at the fair where our author is signing the books. We're having a county fair pin. So some of those promotional activities ahead of the fair. During the fair, we're going to have 2 car shows. One is all cars previous to 1921.
Oh,
so it'll be a Model A, Model Ts that they'll be here. Gibbs Farm is going to be here one complete day on Friday the 12th. Where they'll have a lot of the demos as it was appearing, years ago.
Okay.
And we have a marionette, Showboat Marionettes out of California. They're returning only for our 100th again this year. And that is a show for all ages.
What do you look forward to the most every year?
Besides the day after the fair ends, you mean? No, I think it's really seeing people coming together for a community festival. County fairs throughout the state still is very important. It's more of a challenge in an urban area because every city has kind of their own festival. So we try to make the county fair somewhat different.
Right.
That's what I mentioned earlier about stepping stone to the state fair. But we have, a stage. We have bands come in. We have, the food, beer, bingo.
Can't forget the beer tent.
Right, beer and bingo, and one of probably the best carnivals in the state.
Yes.
And then we have a petting zoo. We have a farmer for the day where the kids will actually milk a cow. And right.
Okay. Anything else you want folks to know? Where can they go for more information? You have a website?
We have a website, RamseyCountyFair.com.
Thanks for all your work over the years. My goodness,
thanks
that's
for the opportunity.
A lot of effort, and we hope everyone comes out to the Ramsey County Fair this year, July 10th through the 14th. And it was history in the making when the long-standing Jenson Boatworks in White Bear Lake was bulldozed for future development back in February, followed by an archaeological dig on the site last month. So to commemorate these events, we'll share a bit of history about the boatworks and then dig a little deeper to learn more about the recent dig in these local image segments.
This is the early brochure of the boatworks. There have been boat builders in White Bear for a long time. There was a Mr. Lehman in 1873 that was a professional boat builder. But over the years, if you get past 1900, the two prominent boat builders were Gus Amundsen and John Johnson. And John Johnson his boatworks operated for more than 100 years. So he became the preeminent boat builder in White Bear. John O. Johnson was born in Oslo, Norway in 1875. Age 15, has a job on a coastal steamer delivering supplies to some of the seaside villages in Norway. We call this the first A-class sailboat. In earlier days, the sailboats had kind of a V-shaped bottom and they would knife through the water. But now this design was a flat bottom with a rounded sides, so that when it tipped up, the rounded part would be in the water like a canoe, just gliding through the water. Or when it's flat, it would just skim across the top of the water. So it was much improved over the old designs. This boat was a champion in 1900. This gave him a name of a really important boat builder and was the important starting point in his career. So in 1940, John decided he wanted some relaxation. He built himself a big cruiser, and he built it as big as he could, but it had to be able to fit out the front door. They actually had to take some of the molding off the sides to get it through. And this is a typical picture of my grandfather on the cruiser. And here we have a nice outing here. The ladies are dressed up in nice long dresses and umbrellas and whatever. You have to watch out for a gust of wind. At the stern of the boat, there's a hand coming up from the water, and on the front of the boat, somebody's holding an umbrella. He liked to build model sailboats, and he built many models of the racing sailboats that were built at the boatworks. Remember the Minnezitka he built in 1900? So he built a model of that, and also a model of a more standard A-boat, and put both of them, they were both displayed at the Smithsonian Museum in Washington. So he died in 1963 at age 88. The boatworks continued on, and was the boatworks business of making sailboats was sold to the Melgis Boatworks in Wisconsin. And then the building and the property was sold to the city of White Bear in 1999. The building just got torn down this winter.
Well, we're excited the city's given us the opportunity to come on out and do an archaeological dig, a professional archaeological dig on the former Jenson Boatworks site. And this whole area, all along the Cottage Park and White Bear Shopping Center and all along the lakeshore over here to the VFW and even beyond, was full of resorts and hotels and saloons and things like that from about 1870 until 1910 or so. John Johnson purchased the lot that was the core of what it was, the Boatworks, in 1912, and built his original building, or the original portion of his building, on what was the foundation of a saloon that had burned down. So we're pretty excited to kind of get into that piece and literally dig into that and see what we can find out. It would be really cool to find things, streetcar tokens would be fun and not shocking. I wouldn't be surprised to find that. The streetcar line actually ran right along the lake through here. Where the fishing pier is was the Ramsey Pavilion, which had, hotel rooms for a couple hundred people, an auditorium that would accommodate 2,000 people. So this was an incredibly active area. So I'm hoping we find some, whether it's coins or buttons or some sort of, physical evidence of those things. We know they happened. One of the spots that we've uncovered had a lot of jars and bottles and glass and plates and just garbage, basically, and we think that's what it was. It was very typical for people who owned, a restaurant or even had their house in one spot to go to the back of their lot line and dump their garbage, because, at that point the village of White Bear wouldn't have had garbage haulers or anything like that, and that's just what you did. You burned it, you dumped it, you covered it, you whatever. And so we found what we think is probably a garbage pit from one of the lunchrooms, one of the restaurants that was down here, or very likely. And at the least, it was a garbage pit for one of the homes.
Oh, it's a spark plug.
Depending on what all is found and what we work through, it'll take some time, but we hope to create a program at the library or through some of our other projects or methods, whether it be newsletter articles or an exhibit or that sort of thing, to get that information out to people. That's the goal. It's a public archaeology project, so we want to get, so stay tuned for more details and speculation on what we were able to find and some, piecing that all together.
Well, that's all the time we have for today. Please join me for more great local stories next month. And until then, get out and support your local community parades, fairs, and festivals. And as always, I do thank you for watching Local Image.
Our heroes from across the upper Midwest are coming home from wars in Iraq and Afghanistan. Only now, some have a new battle to fight: unemployment. Hello, I'm Rocky Lynn, co-founder of Tribute to the Troops.
I'm Sergeant Dejan Farrell.
And I'm Captain Ron Jarvie. A survey of our troops serving overseas found 25% say employment is a major concern for them as they come home.
Right now, the unemployment rate for today's veteran is 12%. That's twice the average of others living here in the heartland.
These service members learn quickly. They have experience with advanced technology and demonstrate teamwork, discipline, and leadership under difficult circumstances.
This year, Tribute to the Troops, the Armed Forces, and the Upper Midwest Emmy Chapter are asking you to hire our today's veterans. Employers, you've seen what these veterans have done for their country. Think what they can do for your business.
To hire today's veteran, visit positivelyminnesota.com/veterans.
Heroes come from small towns.